people, real stories, real recovery.
Like, people's pronouns and how they dress are important in their identity. Like, don't be
Even if it's not a recovery, get to real stories, real recovery. I am Kat, and I'm on the road of recovery.
My name is Matt, aka Love. I'm from Cleveland, Ohio, and I'm a person in recovery from alcoholism and addiction.
Matt, thank you so much for taking the time to visit On the Road to Recovery here at the Vortex Center. You just performed. How was that?
It was incredible.
Hell yeah,
It was
man.
incredible.
It was phenomenal. You did a great job, man. It was awesome.
Thank
So,
All right.
Matt, can you tell us a little bit about your childhood and youth?
Yeah, my childhood was it was amazing, honestly. You know, I had two loving parents, two younger siblings, you know, and we had everything that we needed. You know, I was involved in sports and I was good at school and I had a lot of friends, you know, so like overall, like looking back at it, I had a great childhood.
So paint a picture of what your life was like during your active use.
Yeah, so my first use, you know, I was like mid-teenager and, you know, the drinking and the smoking at like, you know, 12, 13, whatever it was, it allowed me to just not feel like me for like that moment, you know, and then just as I'm sure as, you know, anybody who's been through it, you know, the more you go and the worse it gets, you know, it doesn't ever get better. And, I, you know, teenage years kept progressing, you know, but I couldn't obviously see it. I didn't have any major consequences. You know, 16, 17 years old, I started getting kicked out of my mom's house, right? And so,
The wake of destruction we leave.
Oh, yeah.
Everything.
Oh yeah, like, and it's the thing, like being where I'm at today, I can look back on it and be like, man, you were fucked up.
Yeah.
Like, what made you think it was okay to just like bounce from place to place, family to friends to whoever, right? And just go and just continue to take and hurt and harm and steal and do all these terrible things to these people. You know, and never once did I ever think about how I was affecting others, right? It was all like what I needed in that moment, you know, and I did whatever I needed to do to get right. I was on the verge of death, right? I was 130 pounds soaking wet. As you can see, I'm not that anymore. Put on some of that sobriety weight.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I was 130 pounds. I had just, you know, got into a bunch of legal trouble. You know, was facing 5 years. Was an absolute wreck. You know, I had scabs and picks all over my body. I was hurting people. I was robbing people. I was involved with some things that I really had no business being a part of. You know, and it was bad. Like, death would have been a better solution than anything I could have thought of. So when I went to look away for a little bit, I got sent, like while I was in there, into the hospital because I was in full-blown psychosis. And like I said, like looking back on things, like it took me like a solid 6 months to even finally really realize that that stuff didn't happen. Like when I got out, I remember my dude picked me up, we went to my homie's house, and I'm like telling him all this crazy shit that happened, right? And they're looking at me all like just baffled. They're like, bro, you've literally been like locked up for, and they're like, how did all this happen? You didn't break out, like you didn't do any of these things, but you couldn't tell me that because mentally I was gone, right? I was absolutely gone. Physically corrupted, right? I was on the verge of death. You know, emotionally, that was out the window. And most importantly, spiritually, I was dead. Like absolutely dead. There was no hope. There was no light. There was no compassion for anybody else. You know, and like I said, like it was really, really dark. And it took me to a place that, you know, obviously I'm not proud of, but I can accept it today because it made me into a better person today, right? From the time I was like 18 to like 23, I had been to like 7 different treatment centers, detoxes, all that type of stuff. I never went because I thought I needed help. It was always outside circumstances, legal consequences to get people off my back, because I've exhausted all my resources. I have nowhere to sleep, and I as witty as I think I am, I ran out of options a couple times, and I'm like, well, at least at treatment I'll have food and a bed, and we can kind of figure it out while I get some rest and kind of get a little bit of weight up. So it was like one of those things where the barrier was me, right? Had nothing to do with anybody else. My whole entire life, I put blame on other people. I could never take accountability for my own actions. And it was always everybody else's fault, the circumstances, family, friends, this, that, somebody's dog, it doesn't matter, right?
Mm-hmm.
Never my fault, how, any of that. So that was like the biggest barrier, was just me. Finally coming to the realization that I'm like truly powerless, right? I cannot make my own decisions and think that they're gonna turn out good. My whole entire life has been a process of me making a decision, the consequences are awful, and me being like, wasn't me, right? So that was like the overall biggest barrier, and being like young and in a position to where like, I think I got this, right? By myself, I don't need any help. I don't need a sponsor, support group, meetings, book, any of that stuff, like God, like nothing. Like I always thought that somehow, some way, I wasn't that bad, or I could do it this way, or if I just go to treatment for the 7th time, I'll be able to get out. And finally, like, no, I've tried that 6 other times. Like, what makes me think that this time is going to be any different?
Right.
And this last time when I went to treatment, truthfully, it was because I was sent there. I didn't want to do 5 years on the joint, but the pain was great enough to where I was finally willing to like change. And it was all forced, right? God put some people in my life, and and I just listened for once. I shut up and listened, and it kind of paved the path.
I noticed that your family is here tonight. I think that's wonderful. So how has recovery helped to heal those relationships?
Recovery has not only healed, but has rebirthed any and every relationship that I had. When I was at my very lowest point, right back in 2020, my parents got me a gravesite. My mom was like fully ready to plan my funeral. She was texting my friends, telling them that, hey, this is what's gonna happen. This is how we're doing it, blah, blah, blah. Wanted nothing to do with me for a long time, And I say my parents specifically because they are today my biggest supporter with any and everything. They're so super proud of me. I know I can count on them for everything, and I'm truly, truly blessed to like have them in my life. This last treatment, when I was in there, I was in like the IOP stage of the treatment and blah, blah, blah. And they kept asking me, like, what do you deserve? And like every time my answer was nothing. Like, I don't deserve anything, right? And the counselor at the time, like, made me sit on this for like 2 weeks. Like she's like, you're not moving forward until you give me the answer. And then the one day, she like presented me this concept, right? And she was like, do you think you deserve to put in the work to like change? And I was like, I can get down with that. Like, that makes sense to me. And that is like the one thing that really stuck out at that time, because, so early on, I don't know what I'm doing. Like, I don't even know if I really care,
Mm-hmm.
So like, I knew I deserved to put in the work. When you come from the place where I came from, it's like everything is amazing, right? The fact that I'm even waking up to like go to work and be with my son and like do all these things and like call my mom on the phone or like laugh with my friend, like it doesn't matter. Like, I'm grateful for every opportunity and every moment, because there comes a point where you don't really grasp, like, this could be gone like that, and then what?
Yeah.
Nothing,
I love it. On behalf of On the Road to Recovery and our viewers, thank you so much for taking the time to sit with us and share your incredible journey. Your journey is going to help to end stigma, humanize addiction, spread awareness, and inspire hope one story at a time.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
God
Yeah.
bless.
Yeah.